Well, this is chapter 7 of Converging Media, and this is about the impact of social media. I've told my students at times that sometimes I think the students might be a little better qualified to explain this than I am, but here goes. The first thing the book talks about is defining social media. There are a number of definitions that they use. Probably the one that I like the best is that, where did it go? A shift in how people discover, read, and share news, information, and content. And that's fine, except for it leaves out the technology part. And so what I'm going to do is bring in the conclusion that the book had, where it's an intersection of technology, social interaction, and information sharing. And it has transformed many aspects of mass communication. Typically, the traditional media has been a monologic model, which is one to many, one person communicating with many people. This has become, social media is more of a dialogic model, meaning dialogue or conversation, in which many people can communicate with many other people. And so that's a big difference there. Another big difference between traditional media and this new social media is traditional media has long had a standard of filtering and then publishing. Filter the story. Is it news? Is it newsworthy? Should it be on the air? Can we verify the facts that they are true through various sources of information? Now, the problem with social media is that we have a publish then filter way of doing things. People will put things on the internet that are they're just false on the face of it. They're just not true. And so it's problematic to me when someone posts something and you look at it and say, well, that's not true. I had a friend of mine posted a thing about masks, and essentially they quoted some doctor who, I don't know who he is. I don't know where he got his information, how he did his research. I think he made a lot of stuff up. I don't even know that he was a doctor. But essentially said that masks are so bad for you that essentially you're gonna cut your life short. My response to that was, I think I actually put this in the comment in the responses. Well, I guess that's why so many doctors and nurses who do surgery all day long, die in their 20s, just no one tells them ahead of time that's going to happen to them. When you look at something like that, where someone says these severe, awful things are going to happen to people who wear masks, and then you look at the fact that there are people who spend 30, 40 years of their life wearing a mask in surgery, and the mask is to keep them from transmitting germs to the person they're operating on. And although certainly they done studies that show masks do keep germs out at about a 50 to 60% level, but it's about a 90 to 90% effective in keeping us from spreading germs to other people. And so when it's false on the face of it like that, the problem with that is that can be harmful. That can be problematic. What if you tell someone that and then they quit wearing a mask and then they catch COVID-19 and then they die? Now we've got a little blood on our hands. That's problematic. We have to look at things. We have to learn to think logically so that we can see some of these things that are literally false on the face of it. They're just clearly not true, and no better than to put them out, and especially if they're potentially harmful to other people. So, of course, social media, just like regular media, has a role of potentially doing agenda setting, where it tells people what is important, what to think about, and what to talk about. Even there's a social production aspect, a collaborative aspect of social media, where we're actually creating this media together. We're creating this media together. That includes Twitter, that includes Facebook, that includes Instagram, that includes basically every other social media site that you can think of. We are creating a reality together. And the problem with that is if that reality is skewed in some way so that it does not represent, we talked about how the more you interact or take in certain kinds of media, it can skew your perception of how likely you are to, for instance, catch some sort of disease or possibly be involved in a violent crime because you've watched so much violent crime drama that, and I like Law and Order, by the way, I've watched a lot of the different Law and Order even. The problem with that is it can skew your perception of how likely you are to be a victim of a crime. That can lead you to living a fearful life or living a life that's not necessarily balanced in the way you do things. Talks about collaboration on an unprecedented scale. We can now actually create the websites and change the websites that are out there. The average person can go out there and go on Wikipedia and change what's on there. What is social about social media? Of course, there's choice. We have a choice. We can have we can be on every different social media that there is, but the reality is most people have trouble really keeping up with more than one, maybe two. Mostly one, by the way. More choice, though, but the problem is, does not mean better quality, because we're reading something on Twitter or on Facebook. There's the potential we could be reading something and believing something that's just blatantly false. There is a conversational aspect to it, because that's not true with mass media, where the TV it's putting out a message to you. Although they've even made that a little more interactive. Some of these shows have a little Twitter feed at the bottom. Big Brother does this. Some other shows have a little Twitter feed at the bottom where people can interact and put out their comments, and it comes up live on the show. Companies discovered that their brands are not just what they claim in their advertising, but what the customers say they are on social media. And it's a powerful thing. I made a comment about a company and how they had done me wrong, and they lied to me. And they quickly contacted me and said, how can we fix this? I said, well, you can do what you said you were going to do. And they did. They rectified it. So I changed my review of them. Talked about curation, people acting as their own filters through tagging, where they tag certain images to tell people, well, these are the things involved in this picture. And of course, folksonomies, collections of tags created by users, provide metadata regarding information. It's been dubbed a folksonomy of definitions. I talked about the ability to create. It facilitates the creation of content. The rise of user-generated media content is just gone through the roof. When you can pick up your phone and here's my comment about this, that, or the other on Facebook or on Twitter or whatever it may be, when you can do that, pick up your phone and do that so quickly, it makes the creation of content just extremely easy. And it has given a rise. There's more user-generated content now out on mass media than there is the normal mass media things that are out there. Anyway, talks about collaboration. Sometimes there's collaboration. People get together and they create. You will see people who get together. They have a certain, maybe they're conservative, maybe they're liberal. They want to create a certain image of a political candidate or a certain view, and they'll put out a comment, and all their friends and all the people who agree with them all make all of these comments of, oh yeah, that's true. And then that creates this illusion that there are many people out there that agree, and maybe more so. People can actually create fake accounts. I have 4 email addresses, which means right now I could go out and create 4 different Facebook pages that all agree with me. Just different names and possibly different pictures. And of course, the ability to create email addresses. I can sit down right now in the next 4 hours. I can create 50 email addresses if I want to, probably on Yahoo and Hotmail and some of these other places. There is an aspect that people really do need to understand, though. There is a need for real world socializing to complement your online socializing. They've actually done some studies of online socializing. It can, if without any real world socializing to go with it, and this is problematic in COVID, the time of COVID, people can feel up more lonely than they were before they started getting on all this social media. And so that can be problematic. Some types of social media, it talks about email. It talks about email can have spams and listservs. There's discussion boards and web forums. There are chat rooms. I'm not going to go into quite all of these blogs and microblogs and wikis, all of these things. Social networking sites. Of course, there's Facebook, LinkedIn, more for work type things. All of these different things that are out there that you can go on and do social media with. Then it talks about producers and producers. What has happened is, first, there were producers of media content. Now the users are producing so much media content. There's a new term that you need to know, probably be on your test, called producers. Producers represent the fact that users are now producing content. They've become producers. Traditional audiences were passive, and now people have the tools to talk back to the media, even in terms of not just talking back, but talking back in a way that it impacts the media. Another facet is that reputation, ratings, and trust. Word of mouth marketing and viral marketing right now is one of the most powerful things out there. If everybody says, oh, you've got to have this, and everybody either got to have this, all of a sudden this product's selling like crazy, with or without any advertising. There are products and things that have become popular and bought a great deal just through viral marketing, just through word of mouth marketing, through the social media. and people will actually produce an item that becomes so popular, they're not really advertising. They have no, cost of, there's a thing of cost of getting customers that companies calculate. Some of them have no cost to customers because it went viral. Another problem is this whole thing of living publicly and privacy. Living publicly doesn't seem to bother millennials. Most employers today do Google searches of job applicants and examine their social networking profiles. You as young people, those people who are watching this, whatever age you may be in this mass comm class, you do need to understand that your potential employers will one day look at Google. They will Google you. They will see things. They will go and look at Facebook. I'm trying to learn my students' names quickly. And one of the things I've done at times in order to help learn my students' names is I've gone to Facebook, just put their name in, see if I can find there's an image of them. That can be fine, but that can also be disturbing because sometimes students put pictures on their Facebook page I did not want to see. Wasn't what I was looking for. Sorry, folks. But that does happen. Another thing you need to understand is if you have a smartphone, you do need to understand that this smartphone is listening to you at all times, no matter what you're doing. You don't have to be on it. It's sitting over here, it's off, right? I've done this. I demonstrated it for my students. I started talking about the fact that I needed to buy a new car, I need to buy a new car, I need to buy a new car. I said it about 10 times in 3 minutes. And then I went to my social media and I pulled it up and I showed them, look, all of a sudden, boom, car ads. I did the same thing about another product. I actually went and I was talking about, I'm really interested in this. I'm really interested in this product. I'm really interested in this product. I went to USA Today, opened it up. I showed them my laptop. Say, look, boom, ads for this product. Your phone is listening to you 24 hours a day. Think about this now. Think about this. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your phone is listening to you. Your phone it pays attention to what you're doing on the phone. It also listens to you when you're talking. So that's something you need to be very, very aware of. The book talks about companies being bought by other companies. Now all of a sudden someone has your information, maybe that you didn't necessarily want to have your information. There's a thing of transparency. One thing companies sometimes do is they create faux viral videos or fake grassroots blogs. It's called astroturfing, where they try to create a movement. A large organization is creating this movement, and it's designed to look like a citizen-founded grassroots campaign. This whole thing with, what's the name of it? It's not Wall Street, where they were trying to, they did the sit-in with Wall Street, and I can't think of the name of the group that did it. And everybody said, oh, well, we're just a citizen-founded, citizen-funded group doing this, well, okay. There were some people behind the scenes that people didn't know about. The other thing was the Tea Party. The Tea Party. Well, it's all citizen-founded, citizen, driving it. There was no special interests, just small donations. They found out that the Koch brothers were pretty much one of the biggest driving forces behind the whole Tea Party. A lot of their meetings and things along that line were funded by the Koch brothers, and that's okay. They have a right to fund and to create political campaigns if they want to. They have money, they can do that. But you have to be aware that sometimes something looks a certain way, and because someone has had the money to fund and to provide this thing, seemingly grassroots viral campaign, it's not necessarily that at all. Just need to be aware of it. Don't have any issues with the Tea Party, by the way. I'm just telling you that there are some things behind a lot of different groups. There are things that we don't necessarily know about. Talks about social media, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Is social media making us less social? It can. If, for instance, we're the victim of catfishing, which you know what that is probably, someone faking an online persona to get someone else to fall in love with them or to, get together, whatever it might be. That's problematic because then it can make you trust everyone less. And maybe it's just that one person, but there are people around you that care about you that are trustworthy. And if we trust everyone a little bit less, have we made our world a better place? I don't know. Something you need to decide. Is social media making us dumber? Well, I'll tell you this right now. If the only news you get is off social media, there's a very high chance that you have some misconceptions about news, things that have happened, things that are true and things that are false. You have some misconceptions that are fed by that are not necessarily accurate, unfortunately. So there's a problem there. There's a question there as well. They did a study, found that the college women spend an average of 10 hours a day on their cell phones, while college men spend an average of 7.5 hours a day. Really? Is that what we want to be doing with our day? There are times where I'm on my phone a lot, I can tell you that. They don't even know yet whether heavy internet social media uses may actually be physically rewiring our brains. That's something that they're studying. A perpetually distracted public, by the way, can easily be led and or misled because people can lose the ability to think critically and question. We need to understand that the social media itself is not bad, but sometimes we may use it in an unwise way. They can be used, we can use it to learn more and improve our skills. We can use it to socialize, organize, create, and collaborate. But it can also isolate and alienate people if used to excess or inappropriately. There are media careers out there. There are people out there who are paid just to social media manage the image of the companies. They go out there and look for anything that's said about the company, and they try to interact with it. And if it's negative, if it's positive, promote it. And if it's negative, try to get the person to take it off in some way. So that is chapter 7. This posting will work on chapter 8.